Hey everyone, it's Spencer Hawes here with nichepursuits.com and welcome back to the show. I was able to just finish up an interview with Scott Voelker, and he's over at brandcreators.com. He's got the Rock Your Brand podcast, and I love having Scott on the show. He's got tons of energy, but also he's a really down-to-earth guy that shares a lot of great tips. Scott and I connect a lot because we're both family guys. We've got kids, and we talk about that a little bit here on the show and the importance of kind of building a lifestyle business, a business that doesn't control you, but really you have control over your business. But specifically, we actually jump into a recent business that Scott and a partner sold, and for a good sum of money. I'll let him share how much that was sold for. But some of the strategies that he applied initially to build an email list using giveaways and Facebook ads, to then actually building a site related to that business and growing the traffic so that it was approved on AdThrive, getting over 100,000 page views a month. And it was actually doing pretty well in ad revenue in addition to the products that they were selling as well. And so overall, Scott and I, we talk a lot about just business in general, strategy, how to build niche sites, how to build an online business, why he's transitioned from the amazing seller to now brand creators. And he has something called Brand Creators Academy. And it really goes back to the core of who Scott is in his business. And so I'll let him share that story. If you're interested in following along with Scott, you can, of course, listen to his podcast, his Rock Your Brand show. As well, you can go to brandcreators.com. And if you want to sign up for his academy, you can go to nichepursuits.com/brand creators. Again, that's nichepursuits.com/brand creators. Overall, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hey, Scott, welcome to the Niche Pursuits podcast.
What's up, man? It's been a long time since we jammed together. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. It is so good to see you, Scott. It has been a little while.
It has.
I don't remember the last time that we were on a podcast together, but in person, it's been at least like 3 years, I think, since we were both at Steve Chu's
that's where it was.
event, I believe was the last time, which is probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Man, it goes quick, don't it?
It goes quick. And now we're not doing events in person anymore, right? We'll see if that happens in 2021. I'm sure you're excited to get back to in-person events. You're like a...
Yeah, I am, but I'll be honest with you. We had our first live event this last year, 2019. And it was 250 people, my first ever live event. And it was awesome. And released my book, all that stuff. And then this happens. And then we were supposed to have it again this year. We had to cancel it, the hotel stuff. It was just craziness. So we ended up doing a little bit of a virtual event. But we had our own, and then we got hit with the whole virus thing. So here we are.
Here we are indeed. Now, you probably don't need a big introduction for my listeners here. This is Scott Voelker. You know, he originally has been known as the Amazing Seller. Formerly known as the Amazing Seller. Now he's over at brandcreators.com doing some good stuff there. And it's Rock Your Brand podcast, right?
Yes, you got it, man.
So what happened to the Amazing Seller?
Well, it's one of those things. And I know that I've watched you before I was even in the spotlight of like podcasting and stuff. I was following you, Chris Guthrie, mutual friend of ours.
Yep.
And I've watched you evolve over time. I remember you on Pat Flynn's podcast talking about building 400 niche sites or some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, and you've always stayed the niche pursuits guy, if you will, or the brand. And I think because Amazon was what got me the spotlight, it's what I was into at the time, because I was dabbling, I was testing. And then I was like, let me try this podcasting thing. Let me just document my story. I don't know if it'll take. I don't know if it'll catch. And it caught like wildfire. And so I wasn't starting the podcast and the Amazing Seller to be a brand that I was going to own and love and endure for the next 15 years, right? I just knew that. I didn't think it would ever amount to that much. Something, but not as big as it was. And then when I started to get like, I guess the brand recognition as like the Amazon guy, I didn't like it really. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't like that I was going to be known that forever, if you will.
Right. That was
You know what I
your
mean?
thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you didn't mean
Yeah,
it to be your thing necessarily, right?
no, I really, really didn't. I've always been about building an online business that supports your lifestyle. Like that's it. Bottom
Yeah.
line, you and I were family guys. And we were just talking about,
Yep.
I've got a new grandbaby,
Holy
so
cow, Grandpa Voelker.
I know pop. It's pop.
Papa.
So I had to get really clear on that. So, you know what I mean? Like, so that's always been, first and foremost. I just talked about this the other day. I've been self-employed for 19 years. Like that's pretty cool, right? To be known that like you've supported your family for 19 years. Probably 5 of those years was brick and mortar in a photography. We owned a photography studio, but then from there, all online. And to be able to do that, you gotta kind of get good at some stuff, right?
Yep.
And I've always been pretty good at marketing and pretty good at like building an audience. And even if it's just locally in your brick and mortar business, like getting the attention in your local community. Like, how do you do that? We used to run contests with a fishbowl. You'd put your name in there with your name and email address, and we would hand put them into our Yahoo account, and we would blind copy everyone, like all of those things, right?
Yep.
So as I was becoming known as this thing, I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a marketer. I'm a guy that builds brands, right? I want to be known as someone that helps people build a brand. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to hit 8 figures, 9 figures, but just supports your lifestyle. If it's 75,000 a year, we can do that. If it's 150,000, we can do that. But it's always about you're building it for what it delivers to you and your loved ones, your family, giving you that time while we're here on this earth. So that's, I really, it was hard. It was really hard. I had a lot of heart to hearts with people. It's like, how do I do this and not neglect my audience, not leave them? And, long story short is we made the decision this year and we made it official that I rebranded the podcast, not The Amazing Seller anymore, but Rock Your Brand Podcast.
Yeah, so that allows you to kind of expand a little bit, to do a little bit more of, either brand creation or just online business building. It helps 100%. You feel like you're not pigeonholed with just Amazon, right?
100%. Now, is Amazon still a great channel? Will I use Amazon? Absolutely, but it's a channel, right? We've always talked about that. It's a channel. Will I still use eBay? Yeah, if it makes sense for the business, right? Will I use Etsy? Sure, if it makes sense for the business, right? They're just channels that we can leverage, but it comes down to me, it comes down to 2 things, traffic and offers. Bottom line, like we got to get traffic, we got to have offers in order to make a business work, right? We need attention, we need something to sell them, right? There's other nuances there, but those are the core things that we need to understand when we're doing business.
So did you notice any changes to like your download numbers or anything like that for the podcast when you rebranded?
Not so, I noticed a drop, but I didn't notice a drop just because of that change. I noticed it before we even did the rebrand.
Okay.
Right. I mean, there was another algorithm change that happened inside of iTunes, but I don't believe that a lot of your search comes from, or a lot of your downloads come from search anyway. I think you're on other people's podcasts. People come over, they listen to you. They either know, like, and trust you there. They'll stay or they won't. There's some search, but I wouldn't build a podcast like I'm going to get traffic on iTunes and, get thousands of downloads. It's more of you're being referred or you might like this if you like this kind of thing. Right. So I just noticed that there was when I started, there was only 1 or 2 people doing the Amazon talk, right? And then all of a sudden you get droves of people like anything. And then it's like, I could either stay there with everyone or I could decide to pivot, which I did, but I already started to see like the numbers were starting to fall a little bit. And I was like, well, this is probably because there's other people that, are taking some of that away. There's always going to be a core. But I wouldn't say I noticed a huge drop when we changed brand. There was some, but it's pretty much stayed pretty consistent. It just hasn't grown. And that's what I'm going to start working on more here moving forward, because I don't do a good job going out there and promoting myself on other people's shows, which I got to get better at that.
Yeah. Sure. Now, you've been at it for, I don't know how many years you've had the podcast, but it's almost, I
Been over
just
5.
looked, 5
Yeah, it's been over
years.
5. Yeah.
And you're like high 800 number of episodes or something, like almost
Yeah.
900 episodes.
We're almost at 900 right now.
That's
Yep.
crazy. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
Congrats. I mean, that's,
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
at, I don't know what the number is, 200 and just over 200,
Mm.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
which is great.
Mhm.
But you're really rocking the podcast in
Yeah.
addition to rocking the brand.
Yeah.
Are you willing to share like how many downloads your
Yeah.
podcast gets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we actually crossed 16,500,000 here
Wow.
recently overall.
Yeah.
And at one point, I think we were just over about 300,000, 350 a month in downloads. And I think now we're probably hovering around 175 to 200.
Okay.
Now that's across all of the episodes. So again, not to
Sure.
kind of put smoke and mirrors here. It's like you have that many episodes, you could get 50 downloads a day on one episode. It's like content on your website, right? The more content
Sure.
you have, the more you get. But I would say, as far as like monthly, I would say that we're hovering right around that mark. Some months down, some months up, but I would say on your average, you're right around there, which is okay. I'm okay with that.
It's a good number. It's
Yeah.
more than my podcast. I
Mm.
definitely. So you're still doing well there with the podcast. So I want to shift just a little bit away from, the podcast and brand creators.
Yeah.
What else do you have going on in your business? Because I know we talked about and you shared with your audience that you recently sold a business. Maybe talk about other brands that you have and what you're working on.
Yeah. Well, be honest with you, and I think this is a good lesson for everyone listening right now. Whenever you see someone like off into the distance and you're like, I want to be like Spencer, like I want to be just like him. He had Longtail Pro and he sold it and life is great. And now he's going to ride off into the sunset and everything is perfect. The truth is we all have a new horizon to get to, right? We all have something. We should have that, but it could add more stress to your life, which you're not ever seeing until you get there. So part of that journey of The Amazing Seller was I was riding this wave and it was fun, but I was also starting to push the limits a little bit of what I, should be doing. Too much is really what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
So like last year was a perfect example. We did a full live event, 250 people at this live event, first ever event, which is a whole nother animal. Wrote a book, Take Action Effect, which is a published book, physical form book, which it took me 11 months to write. So did that. I had a high level mastermind where there was at one point 10 people there, $25,000 per person to be a part of this mastermind. Ran that. Then also had a course that we were selling, right? Running the podcast 3 episodes a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also bought an Airbnb, which we can talk about. That's a great investment, by the way. That's been like the best investment ever. Did that, renovated it, a $200,000 renovation on that property. Had to get it ready. So had that going on and ended up, getting stressed out, right? And burnout. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing? My wife says to me, she said, what are you doing? Like this goes against what we're about. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be this stressed out. And I'm like, you're right. And so, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because when people are looking at what they want, be careful, number one, at doing everything, right? Go after the one thing. And then don't compare yourself to other people. Don't say, oh, because they're saying, or, especially in the Amazon space, they're showing screenshots, a 7-figure, month or whatever. Yeah, but what's the net on that? Come on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so you're comparing yourself to being successful to the 7-figure screenshot when that 7-figure screenshot, all of the headaches that went into that, and they only made 10% on that. Is it worth it? And then what you're comparing yourself isn't real. It's kind of like the Instagram, like it's all pretty and perfect. You don't see the flaws. So the reason why I'm sharing that is because I want people to understand what your number is. What are you looking to do? And then get real with it. That's what I had to do last year. I had to take a hard look at what I was doing. And I stripped everything away. I said, I'm going to start I'm starting over in a sense. I still have my audience. I changed the podcast. That felt right to me, right? Because anybody that knows me, I still have a lot of guitars. I play guitar. I was in a rock band. I had long hair, the whole thing. Wanted to be a heavy metal rock star. Never ended up happening. But it just made sense. I want to talk about, I want to be able to talk about that side of me, but also I want to incorporate that into a cool show like the the Rock Your Brand podcast, right? I can bring on cool guests that don't always have to be about business, right?
Yeah.
That could talk about just life lessons or health or fitness, because as entrepreneurs, we always neglect that. So I want to have the freedom to do that. So my big thing was I wanted to strip everything. So I got rid of all the courses that I sold. I got rid of them. I said, I'm going to start over. We started Brand Creators Academy, which is where I'm only serving these people at that deep level month to month, which we can talk about that. And then I said, I'm not going to launch any courses unless these are like little workshops that I could do in a Saturday afternoon and then evergreen it. And then that also serves people that could lead into the academy. And that's it. And I'll do my Brand Creators Academy or a Brand Accelerator live event once a year. And life is good. Like that's my focus. Podcast, those little things, and good. So those are my projects that I'm working on now. Just sold that business. We had a business that we were building kind of as a case study that we couldn't publicly share it as a case study because my partner, it was, their livelihood, didn't want to disrupt that. But we ended up deciding to sell that. We did. We can talk about that because there was some ups and downs there. It took a long time. And we ended up doing really well. That business at the end of the day, after the 3.5 years, after what we sold it for, we netted 7 figures on that brand.
Awesome.
Because we were able to draw money, which a lot of people don't do. We drew money from that business over 3 years. Every single month, we drew money out. We had very little startup cost, under 20 grand in startup cost. And we just kept rolling it in, but we also pulled money. So we were able to draw money, and at the payday, we were able to cash in, sell all our inventory. You know how that works, and get our money back. And we were able to, over the course of those 3 years, do pretty well. So that's pretty much it, man. That's what I've been up to. I'm simplifying, but a lot has happened.
Yeah, I really like that. And I see a little bit of parallels between myself and you in that regard, because I have been trying to sell off little websites or stop doing little projects. My audience knows it was about a year ago, maybe just over a year ago, that I stopped selling my own digital product, like training courses to my audience. I decided, you know what, I'm not going to get into the training business. I'm going to just focus on growing my own websites. So I got out of that. I sold several niche sites. I even sold a little WordPress plugin, right? And so trying to declutter my business a little bit and declutter my life, I guess, is one way to look at it. And you described it pretty well. I mean, the whole point of going into business for yourself is hopefully to have the freedom and time to go fishing with your daughter, or to spend more time with your family and work on projects that you're interested in doing. And so sometimes we fall into that trap of, we see success and we know that we can make something successful. So why not add that project to our plate? Right. We can make it work.
Sure.
So I like where you're going. You're trying to simplify a little bit, do things that are interesting to you. But I would like to dive into this business that you recently sold. Sounds like it was a successful exit there. So over 3 years, being able to, between taking money out and selling it, net about 7 figures on that. So explain the genesis of the business. You said you had partners. Is this an Amazon business? Is it an e-commerce business? Is it something else? Explain what you're able to share about the business.
Yeah, I have to close lip a little bit just because I have to protect the new owner, of course, because this is their business. You know what I mean? Like this is their livelihood. So with that being said, I'm just going to tell you the story from the beginning was I was already selling products on Amazon, kind of dabbling in that. That's what got the podcast started and stuff. And so, of course, I'm always looking at other opportunities of like physical products at that point, because I'm like, physical products is a really good business. And so my wife had met a lady that lived here near me, right? And she met her before we moved here, who actually helped us find our house. So let me back up. She was a blogger. Okay. Nice. Kind of someone that you would say is kind of like a mommy blogger. And I know that they don't like to be called that, but basically, someone that just basically blogs, this is like going on like 8-9 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. And just, I'm getting ready to move from here to here. This is what I learned. Right. Or here's a fall decoration, or here, it was just all over the place. Yep. Right. And my wife found the blog post that she wrote about this area. So my wife reached out to her and said, hey, we're thinking about moving down there. I would love if you give me any information. My wife didn't know if she'd hear back, and she heard right back, and she gave us a whole bunch of great information. She said, hey, if you're ever down this way, come on down and we'll show you around, myself and my husband. And so we did. Long story short, we met up with them. They ended up helping us locate our house. We became really good friends, hanging out, having a few drinks, barbecuing. They've got a great brick pizza oven in their backyard, like just a great time. And I was kind of seeing what she did. She was seeing what I did. And I go, you really could do more than what you're doing with the knowledge that you have. Like you're not really focusing on one area. You're just kind of a little bit all over the place, but it's still doing okay. She was doing great with AdThrive and stuff and just doing it. And so she started hearing about this whole physical product thing, knew nothing about it. And so we ended up partnering up and basically 50-50 partners.
Okay.
And I basically said, I'll front the upfront startup, which was like 20 grand, maybe a little less. And if we need any orders, I'll help fulfill those. I'll be more of the marketing on the back end. I'll do whatever I can to do you there, but I can't do the day-to-day operations. I can't do that stuff. And you just do the blog type stuff, And so long story short is that was our agreement. That's what we did. So from the beginning, we started doing everything that I teach, by the way, is we built an email list through a giveaway before we even had our first product released. We did have an idea of the product. We were in almost production. We were just kind of doing like different tests and stuff. And just to give people a little bit of perspective, this was a product, and it turned up into many products that were accessories. Let's just say that, right? Accessories to, the Kirby vacuum, right? Like, let's just say it was something like that.
Okay.
And so we had all of these little accessories. So we came up with this one, but we gave away as the contest the main thing, right? So that brought up attention.
Gotcha.
We knew that people were interested in this. If they're interested in this, we know that they're going to be interested in the accessories. So we built that list. No blog at the time, just an email list, and we were thinking we're going to launch these first few products to the email list, giving them a discount. That's exactly what we did. Right? We built an email list of like 5,000 people. I think it cost us like $1,000 to build the list. And we did it all through Facebook ads. And then once we had that going, I go, we should start probably publishing on a blog. So we started publishing on a blog just every week, once a week. And so long story short, we built out the blog, started getting steady traffic, started to really get some really good traffic, started using Pinterest. That was her expertise. And before you know it, we're hitting 150,000, uniques a month. To this website. And our email list at the time was, I think, like 20. We built that to 35,000. Very engaged email lists. Like a minimum open was like 19 to 20%. Click-through rate was like 6 to 7%. Yes, that's right. 6 to 7%. It was crazy. We were getting like 1,900 clicks from our emails over to our blog, which is awesome. Crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So all of that stuff was done, but we built a nice little product suite. And we would have knockoffs, and then we would have to do like, cease and desist and do all that stuff. And then we'd had some products that didn't really land well. So we just liquidate them. But we had a good suite of products here. But we weren't running any ad networks because I said I didn't want to. Here's a lesson for people. Don't always think that you're doing the best for your business by not putting ads or something on your website. Because I made that mistake. And I was at a mastermind, and there was two girls there, and they're like, yeah, we run AdThrive on our website. We're making like $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I'm like, wait, what? How much traffic are you getting? And they were getting about 200,000 a month. And I'm like, so if I put that on my website, there's a chance I can add another 2,000 to 3,000. They're like, oh yeah, you should just try it for a month.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So we were over the 100,000 mark. So my partner was already associated with AdThrive. She reaches out to them. They accept us. We get that on running. First month, we made like $2,500. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Right? Why didn't I do this like a year and a half ago? And so we ended up having a couple months. We hit $5,500, $5,800 in just AdThrive money. We were getting like $24 to $28 RPM. Yeah.
That's huge.
So it's huge. So anyway, so we did that. So that was a nice little thing. We built a digital product. We built a couple of digital guides. We sold those, which also led people into our physical products. So we had that going. We had affiliate sales making about $800 to $1,200 a month in just Amazon affiliate stuff. And then obviously we had our FBA stuff going as well. So it was well diversified. But we talked to Joe Valley over there to Quiet Light Brokerage about 18 months before we were ready to sell.
Great guy,
he said,
by the way.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
The whole company's great. But he basically said to me, listen, make sure you do this one thing for me. And this is a lesson for anyone. Make sure that you get your books in order now before you sell in 18 months from now. Because, and it's not that our books were a mess. We were doing our books. So he's like, you do not want to do your own books when you're selling, because then there's always, the idea of maybe the numbers aren't accurate or whatever. So always get a third party. So we ended up doing that. That was really a good thing. Although the company we hired had a few mistakes there that cost us a little bit, but we won't talk about that. But in the end, it was all about diversifying the revenue, which we had done. Our email list was strong. Our blog was strong with content. Our Pinterest was strong. YouTube, we even started a YouTube channel just by repurposing some of our Facebook lives. And I don't know, we built it up to like 5,000 subscribers. I think we were making an extra, I don't know, couple $100 a month there. So it was just random stuff there that we were doing just to kind of repurpose, but it was still bringing in traffic. So
yeah. So I've got several follow-up questions to that. First of all, sounds like an awesome business. I didn't realize that you guys were doing that well on the website, getting that much traffic. And so that really plays well into the wheelhouse of sort of what my audience is super interested in, right? They're out usually trying to rank in Google, but Pinterest as well, just trying to get traffic to their sites. I think the core of my audience, we love being able to have somebody click an ad and leave and just make money, right? You just, you don't have to send them a product. You don't have to like talk to them, right? That was my draw of like an online business was click an ad, leave. I never see you. I just get paid, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. And so the overall revenue of the business, as far as net income, do you have any sense of like what was making more? Like, were you making more from ads on a net basis?
No, I don't think so. I think the physical products were still the strongest.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was also what kind of seeded everything. But the ad money was right there behind it. I got to be honest, because like I said, there was some months we did close to $6,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was really strong, but the physical products, it's tough to beat that when you have a suite.
Yeah.
When you have a suite of products and when you have, I think we had at the time with variations, probably like, I don't know, 18 or 20.
Okay.
SKUs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So just to give people, but again, with that being said, like you just said, let's call it $5,000. We did nothing, right?
Right.
The $5,000 to make on the other side, you're doing a lot, right?
Yep.
You got logistical nightmares. You've got hijackers. You've got listings being suppressed. You got, quality control. FBA lost your inventory, like all of it.
And that's the reason I got out of the Amazon FBA business as well. I sold my business, it's 2.5 years ago, I think. And I sold out of Amazon and I haven't looked back. That's a big reason for it. It's a great opportunity. Don't get me wrong. And people can do that, but there's a lot of effort and work that needs to be put into building that business. I want to ask about the giveaways and building the email list. Because I know that's definitely in your wheelhouse. That's important just for so many reasons. You can sell your physical products, but you can also sell your digital products, and you've just got that audience. And so I know that you talk about how important that is a lot. But the giveaways that you did, so you explained that you did mostly Facebook ads to do that giveaway. What sort of software and tech stack were you using to run the giveaways? Did you have some sort of tools that help people share more and get more entries, that sort of thing?
Yep. Well, our good friend, Chris Guthrie, actually, we went in on a tool that we built together, which is called Giveaway Boost. And that tool, it's funny because he had one already kind of somewhat built, but he kind of is like, I'm not going to use it anymore, and I go, let's bring that thing back to life because we need it, right? And so the reason why I wanted to go outside of using something like Glean or one of those, because they're so well known, and what happens is the scrapers pick those up, right? So the minute you put something up on one of those other platforms, a lot of times there's scrapers out there that will pull in these contests, and then you'll just get a random bunch of people that jump in. And then
less targeted.
It dilutes your email addresses. So we wanted to do away from that. Also, we wanted more control over the tool. And also the tool does two things. It does the giveaway portion, but it also does a discount code portion. So if you want to set up a landing page, offer a discount code in exchange for the email address, and then it'll immediately send them to a thank you page with their unique code. We embedded that in that WordPress plugin as well.
Does that have to be an Amazon code, or can it be any custom code that you create?
Nah, you could customize it any way you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking if I wanted to do a giveaway for Niche Pursuits and give away a copy of Link Whisper or something, right?
Yep.
I can make it work for that.
Yeah, you're just going to backfill it with whatever, whatever code you wanted to use. But it's to me, it's a simple way for people that don't want to go and build out, or go to ClickFunnels or Lead Pages or any of that stuff. They can just literally do it on their own website. I know there's other tools out there too that do it, but ours is really just light and lean, and it just does what it's supposed to do. To answer your question, so yes, you have some important pieces to that page when they go there. There's two important pieces. Number one, you want the timer. So we always want a timer on there to let people know, like, there's 14 days or there's 20 days. Like, people don't want to just go like, oh, you're going to let me know when, right?
Yep.
Or just seeing a date. I want to see that it's counting down, that it's getting closer. So I just think psychologically people like that. So we have that embedded. We have a couple of different skins that you can either put up a video or you can put up just a slideshow showing the prizes, obviously bullet points of what you'll receive, and then just a very simple opt-in box, right? That's it. That's all the page is there to do, is to basically show what it is, make the offer, and get people to opt in for the prize. The minute they opt in, that's where the magic happens, because now behind the scenes, we can select different ways that they can get more entries. So one way is going to be share your special link that's trackable with your friends. And if you get 3 people to enter, you'll get 5 more entries, something like that. You can set it up any different incentives that you want. You can say, go to this YouTube video and watch it, and you'll get another 3 entries. Or you can go to Instagram, or you can go to whatever. We can incentivize more on that page. You can select some that you want, some that you don't. Or you can just keep it where, you can just say, hey, share this, this link with your friends and family, or a group that you're a part of, and get more entries. That's the magic. And that's all that we did for that first initial build of that list. That gave us our base. After that, we did a lot of lead magnets. We would then, again, you get that much traffic, you just put an opt-in up on your page, you're going to start getting
on your website.
We were getting over sometimes we were getting anywhere over 50 to 75 emails a day.
Wow.
Just from the traffic, free.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very good. So Giveaway Boost, is that a WordPress plugin?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's something I can go buy right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just might do that.
Yeah.
Do you have an affiliate program for that? We didn't talk about this.
I know we're going to have to talk about that. I believe we do, but
all right.
Again, that's we're gonna have to talk more on that.
I'll make a pretty link either way. If people go to nichepursuits.com/giveaway boost, we'll make sure it goes to the right URL. They can pick that up. I am looking for a good plugin to do some contests, because I'm thinking about doing some giveaways, and so I'm going to check that out for myself. Cool. So any other tips regarding building an email list? I mean, you talked about, okay, you did this giveaway, and then you built a website that's getting a lot of traffic. And of course, there's a lot of strategies at that point, right?
Sure.
You create a product and people opt in, that sort of thing. But anything else interesting that you did to kind of grow the email subscriber?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing also is, and not even just for that brand, but you're going to look at a giveaway versus like a lead magnet, a typical lead magnet, right? The quality is going to be different. So just understand that. The difference is if you're doing a giveaway, you are going to get leads cheaper. So I'll just give you an example. And we actually did this as a case study inside of Brand Creators Academy. We built, we share the niche inside of there too. Like all of the stuff in the Academy, we share all that stuff. Outside of it, we can't. But we built, as a case study, us brainstorming an idea for the giveaway, actually setting everything up, driving the ads, doing everything. We built a list of 9,300 email subscribers in 30 days.
Wow.
And basically they ranged about 15 to 18 cents a lead from Facebook ads. Yeah. So
that's huge.
We built that. Now that sounds amazing, which it is, Now you look at that and you're like, okay, now if 50% of those people actually are engaged, that's a good thing, right? So now you'd say, okay, let's say we paid 15 cents. We really paid 30 cents because we're going to get
Right. That
rid of
makes
the other
sense.
ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now we just recently did another test for a lead magnet, and we literally took a, a blog post that was on our website that would serve up as a good lead magnet. We ran it through a tool that basically spits out a PDF. And when we turned that into a lead magnet, literally in like 10 minutes, we drove traffic to it. And we actually did 2 of these. And they each converted anywhere from 30% to 38% on the front end from a Facebook ad to a cold audience that
Wow.
didn't know who we were. And the one that was working real well, we kept running with that one. We built that to like 750 email subscribers, but cost us probably about 70 cents an email subscriber. But you email that segment to the giveaway segment, the 750, you're going to get a higher open rate.
That makes sense.
You're going to get higher engagement, right? So again, it's cool to do both. That's why I do both, but you will get a higher lead quality from running a lead magnet. 100%.
Mm-hmm. So you were doing Facebook ads directly to a lead magnet page.
Yep.
Yeah. That's super
100%.
interesting. And it was just a PDF of a blog post that you guys had written.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
So to drive it home, give people an example. So if I've got an article on my site, which I do, I just updated this ultimate guide to building a niche website, right? Like how to build a niche website. If I turn that into a PDF, then built a little landing page on nichepursuits.com where they can download the PDF for free and ran some Facebook ads to that landing page, you think I'd do okay getting opt-ins?
I do. Yeah, I really do. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's one of those things like you might nail it right out of the gate, but a lot of times you're going to test those different audiences.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know as well as I do, Facebook ads is like a whole nother mystery, right?
Sure.
It's like some markets it works great, some markets in our space it's harder, it's more expensive,
definitely,
right? And that's why you need a back end, right? But if you're in, like the bass fishing market, you probably can get away with selling a $10 ebook on the back end of the thank you page. Right?
Yeah.
Which I think for anyone that is going to so if for you personally, like I wouldn't just drive traffic to that and not sell them something. I would drive them to that. And on the thank you page, I'd be like, get this thing for $19 or $27 or something like that. So we can immediately try to recoup that ad spend. And if it costs you $27 and you just charge $27, you just liquidated your cost.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Yep. That's the goal. And then you've got the email list long-term, right? Hopefully you've got additional offers or
100%.
something going on. Yeah. Sell your own products, ongoing from there. And that's really where you make the money. So that's awesome. Really good tips there for people that are, looking to maybe build an email list. I think that's something they can take because most of my listeners, I think probably have a blog. And so they can maybe think about what's their most in-depth blog post that they have. And maybe they can use that as an opt-in, a lead magnet to build that subscribers.
The thing is too, Spencer, is I think people need to understand this. Like we always talk about traffic and traffic we can control. Your email list is the traffic you can control, right?
Yeah.
So we get this too. We were emailing that brand that we just sold 3 times a week.
Nice.
Okay. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now here's another tip. All right. This is a big tip. Once you send that email, I used to send at 8:00 in the morning. The following morning at 8:00, I was sending to the unopens and I was getting an extra 8 to 9% open rate on that email that you would have just like neglected. Okay. So that's a big one. So number one, if you're not building a list, why aren't you? Because you're going to immediately get traffic that's going to go to your blog. If you're just starting to build your blog, you should build an email list just to drive traffic to your blog to get that thing going. Right? Get eyeballs on it, send the signals to Google and all of the other places that like to see interaction going on there. And then, get people over to your Facebook page, your Facebook group, wherever you want to drive traffic. You have that piece. And then, like I said, also when you're doing that, you're not just getting the traffic there over to the website, but you're able to also get feedback. You're able to start asking people questions. We did this in that niche that we're doing as a case study. We sent an email, I think it was to about 7,000 of the segment that's still active. And I think we got maybe a 15% open rate because again, it was like the giveaway. But all we asked was for feedback. Like, what is one thing you're struggling with bass fishing? And we got 90+ responses from that email.
Wow.
Just telling us what they need help with. Right. So again, like if you don't have an email list, that's why you want an email list, is because you can just send them to your website. You can send them to a survey. You can send them to your Facebook, group post or whatever.
And I like your strategy of resending to the unopens.
Huge.
You would do that every email?
Every time.
Yeah. Wow.
Every time.
So
if you're not doing that, you should kick yourself in the butt right now.
I might have to do that because I don't do that all the time. I do it some of the time.
If you're not sending an email, okay, so the only time that you can't do that is if you have a promotion and you're sending one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Right.
But if you're not, dude, man, your next step is like for me, I send an email out to, my brand creators people. I send them an email on Monday and I send one on a Wednesday and Friday. All right. Mm-hmm. I send one all the time. So on Monday, I send it out. Tuesday's easy for me. I make my coffee. I sit there and I go, boom, 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 change the headline, unopens, send. Like I'm done for the day on that. I'm done. And then I look back and I'm like 9% more on that email that got opened, right? It's huge. You're missing out on that opportunity if you're not doing it. And it literally takes you like, I don't know, a minute.
A couple minutes. Yeah.
Subject. Yeah. The subject line, you're like, I'm going to change it a little bit, but the copy's all the same. Everything else is the same. Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Do it, Spencer.
I am going to do it. Like I said, I do it sometimes, but not all the time. So I'm going to try that. And what's the worst that can happen? I can learn that, my unsubscribes, if they're higher than I expected, right? I can analyze that.
I don't think they will be. I think they're going to do just fine.
I think
you're going to be like,
right.
Scott, I can't believe I haven't been doing this longer.
There you go.
Routine.
That's my tip from Scott today. I'm going to take something and I'm going to start making more money because of the podcast here today. That's what it's all about. Very good. So you sold the business. Maybe let's not go into the whole process. I know you guys went through SBA and it ended up taking a long time, right?
Yeah.
What was the time of start to finish?
Well, just to also, let's paint this part of the picture. So we list the business, and in less than 24 hours, we had like 6 offers.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was awesome. Right. And then we ended up we actually interviewed them to see because we didn't want to just hand it off. We wanted to see who was going to be the best, buyer, because we wanted to see it do well.
Yeah.
And so we picked the one, and they also happened to be one of the higher bids by about 30 grand. So It was like, okay. And so we went with them, and then we start going through the process, and then, this whole virus thing happened. And then we get an email that says, we're going to back out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we're 30 days in, we get a back out. Now we're back at square one. Right. And so then we listed it again. We did get a little bit less this time. Well, we did, but we didn't, because we were going to get about 30 grand less. This one here, we got, or 30 grand more. We got 30 grand less.
Yeah.
It averaged out to be about the same. And so anyway, this was actually a better buyer. I felt better about him. I think he's going to do really good things with it too. But it was just the SBA because of this whole virus thing. And it just, everybody was just backed up.
Yep.
Everybody was backed up. So I think I'm going to say realistically, probably close to 5 months before we ended up finally closing, which it should have been a 3-month process.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the timing. I mean, it's just crazy, right?
It was
People
nuts.
aren't even working at the banks probably for a couple of months there. But it's done, and congrats. I mean, you can celebrate with your friend there that you sold it with. I'm sure she's super happy, right?
Super happy. Yeah. And she'll go off to do her stuff, and I'll keep doing my stuff. And who knows in the future if we'll partner up on anything else, but it was a good partnership, and we're still friends. That's the important part.
Absolutely. Everybody's still happy and still friends. That is the most important part. Absolutely.
It is.
So, brand creators, what's going on there? What are you guys doing? And just what's interesting with brand creators?
Yeah. Again, I'm not looking at building this massive thing. I'm looking at being able to have something that I can be consistent with and also be involved in and help people on a regular basis, and not have 500 things that I have to tend to. Right. So it's like I log in to Brand Creators Academy in the Facebook group, and I'm in there at least once a day. We do 2 monthly live calls. So I jump on with them. One of them we do virtually. So we'll be on camera together. Mm-hmm. Another one we just do where Chris Schaefer, my partner in Brand Creators, we do a joint call where we just kind of field questions. We also do an update on the niche site that we're building as a case study. We actually just did a workshop that we added to it. So we're going to do these little fast track workshops, which you and I talked a little bit about. So these are kind of like my way of doing like these little mini trainings that are under 3 hours that people can get a takeaway, or they can accomplish one thing in the brand building process, but also could lead people into the academy, focusing on those. So again, just keeping it really simple, creating these evergreen products or assets that will help people even if they never join, but also would lead them a little bit closer to joining by them accomplishing one simple thing in that brand build.
Right. And
That's
your
it.
last one was the email strategies, basically, how to build an
It was
email list,
basically
right?
very specific though. It's like we did a full training in the academy, like a full training, like email marketing accelerator is what we called it. It's like over 40 videos of like us walking
Oh,
you through
wow.
like us, creating like from scratch your list. And then once we get the list built, now we're going to talk about email marketing and follow up and how to warm up your cold leads and like all of that stuff. It's a lot. And to a lot of people, it's too much. So I said, let's just carve off the one section, which is most people just want to start building their list. And so what our promise is, go through this 2-hour training. It's a workshop. We're going to show you exactly how to do 3 things: build a lead magnet, build a landing page, and drive traffic to it, and start building your list to 500 subscribers within 30 days or less. That's the promise, right? We're not going to show you how to do cold, engagement, reactivation of your list, automations, and all of that stuff that gets you all hung up. We're just going to teach you how to build that list. Once we do that, we might do another workshop that's about email marketing, right?
Right.
So it's just,
that makes sense.
we're trying to give them like bite size of what they need right now. If I get you to build a list, guess what I can help you with? I can help you sell product to that list, right?
Yeah.
We got to build a list first.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And so also just to give people an idea to clarify, I mean, you have shifted or broadened sort of your vision. You're not just the Amazon guy anymore, right? Like Brand Creators Academy is all about building any type of business really online, right? Like digital products. Maybe explain that a little bit as well.
Yeah, well, and it's funny that you say that because inside of the academy, there's very little talk on the Amazon side. Which is, it's kind of refreshing for me, although I will field questions and there's people in there that are doing well on Amazon, but they're not there for that reason, which is cool. So my thing is I've been doing it for years. I mean, I don't know if you know that I ran a membership in the photography space for 7 years. We built a membership site up there after I graduated out of the brick and mortar, and we turned that, our photography online business into, a pretty sizable company in 7 years. So, so we have always done like lead magnets and building an email list and building the audience and then selling them products and doing beta launches and all of this stuff. So I'm like, why am I not teaching that?
Yeah.
Like, well, because Spencer is, I can't do it. Because Pat Flynn is, he can't do it. Like everybody's got their own way of doing things, right? Like, yes, you teach people how to build a niche site, but there's other things that you teach in that process. I've read your emails. You teach about life lessons and mindset, and
totally.
But it's just, there's not one way of doing it, but there are like people that you might go, I resonate with that person because they have the same values, or maybe I learned better from their teaching. I don't know. I found that I was trying to find a really niche area so I didn't have to compete as much with everyone else that was teaching the same stuff. But then I'm like, you know what? I don't care because I've got my style. I've got my way. And this is what I enjoy doing. I'm a builder, right? My former life, I was a contractor. I built homes. I'm a builder. I build businesses. I build brands. It just happens to be building a website, driving traffic, making offers. It's the same idea. I'll be doing that for the rest of my life. I just love building businesses and brands, and I love helping other people. So that's what we do inside the academy.
And I think I heard you say that you and Chris started a case study with a niche site. Is that right?
Yep. Yes,
how's that going right now?
It is going well, but funny story on that. We're just under 12 months.
Okay.
And we started running. I think right now we're at about 25,000 page views. I think we had 1 month we were at 30.
Okay.
It's growing. We're also out of season for this one niche. But we started running Ezoic. Right. And I know that you just had the owner of Ezoic on and stuff, which I would love to pick his brain.
Yeah. He's the CMO of Ezoic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I didn't listen to that episode, but I probably should have. But we ran because they allow you to run if you have 10,000
with a lower page view. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to Mediavine, I think now it's 50,000. It was 25.
Yeah.
And then AdThrive is 100,000. Right. But we turned on, I have 2 niche sites that we started building almost at the same time. And one of them's getting about 25,000 page views. The other one's getting around 20, 22,000. One of them has an email list. One of them doesn't. We did that on purpose because we wanted to see the differences and stuff. So anyway, we started Ezoic and we noticed a huge drop in site speed. Like it drained the site speed, right? And I'm like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. So we started playing with it and tweaking it, and we got it where it was better. Then we started doing Pinterest, and Pinterest was doing great. We were getting like 4,000 link clicks to our website a month with a fresh account. It was like 3 months old.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was doing great. And then all of a sudden, there's this algorithm shift in Pinterest. I don't know if you've heard, but this started penalizing people for whatever. And we noticed we started tanking both sites. But the site that I sold was still thriving. My daughter has a site that gets about 85,000, 90,000. Hers is about maybe 18 months, 2 years old. She's running Mediavine and she didn't get hit. And I'm like, what is it? Are we shadow banned? I started doing all the research, right? We're not shadow banned. We're in good standings. We contacted Pinterest. Something, we don't know if it was me, if it was Ezoic. We don't know if it was a pop-up. We don't know. We just thought that we were negatively affected.
Right.
Long story short is we were running Ezoic, making about maybe, 300 on the one site, maybe 200 on the other. The RPMs were horrible. Like the one is like $6. The other one is like maybe 12. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not good.
Not great.
And so I was like, I don't know. So now my goal is, because I just had one of our members who bought a site. I won't give away the niche, but it's in a really, I'll maybe tell you off air.
Okay.
Just so I don't want to expose him. He didn't give me permission, but he bought a site for like 30 grand. It's getting like 65,000 page views. He's running Mediavine. It's doing like $24 in RPM. He's making like $1,400 a month. He bought the thing for 30K. I'm like, dude, I need that deal.
Yes.
Right. But anyway, so it's doing good traffic wise. And I think that's going to grow, and our email list is growing. It's just a matter of time. I'm trying to get it to $1,000 a month. And then I want to get it to $2,000 a month, because my idea is I just want to create that thing as a case study, but I also want to have an asset that produces $1,000 a month, like a piece of real estate.
Yeah.
Bottom line, without a lot of work. Like we're adding, I think maybe 12 articles a month to that. We're using Link Whisper, by the way.
Thank you. Awesome.
He didn't give me a free copy. I paid it. I paid for it.
I would have given you a free copy. So thank you.
I always like to do that, because you know what? I look at it like, if I'm going to buy it, someone else is going to buy it, and I know that we can in our industry be like, here, but I know if I make affiliate commissions, you're paying me anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a great tool. So it works well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right in the middle of it, building, you're with the struggles of like, you're making a couple $100 a month. You're trying to figure out Ezoic versus Mediavine. And I love it, man. So you're right in that stage of, trying to ramp it up.
Yeah.
So
and we were coming from a site that's doing 150 to 200,000 AdThrive money, 24 to 28. And I'm like, how is this that far off?
Yeah.
So we're racking our brains. Pinterest is a big one right now that we're trying to crack. We don't understand it.
Yeah, I wish I had some quick tips for you, but I am not a Pinterest expert at all.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's a whole new.
And then to top it off, Spencer, we found out that someone copied our site basically verbatim. It's like every single part of it is copied. Now it won't really affect us because they're just duplicating our content. We're already publishing it there first, so I don't think that it'll negatively affect us. I mean, let me know if you think. But it's literally almost the same name. Like everything, even the theme, the images are.
They obviously copied you. Yeah,
it's ridiculous, right? But it's one of those things. You put yourself out there.
It's a win-lose thing, right? Like there's always some bad apple that's out there that's going to copy what you're doing. So I've been there.
Yeah, I know you have. I've followed you for long enough. I've seen it.
Awesome, Scott. It's great having you on the podcast. If people want to check out Brand Creators Academy, I'm going to make sure we have a link for them to follow. It's they can go to nichepursuits.com/brand creators, and they can take advantage of that. Follow along with Scott and what he's doing. Any final thoughts or words, and just best place for people to follow along with you?
Well, yeah, the podcast would be the best if you listen to this on a podcast, and you probably listen to podcasts. So head on over to Rock Your Brand 3 times a week. We do a Friday jam session, which is basically I do these coffee talks Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Facebook. I do them every single week, and I just get on and I jam with people on their businesses, and we kind of talk through everything. And that's over at takeactioncrew.com is what we call ourselves. So you can go
All
to that.
right.
That'll take you to the Facebook page or the group. And you can join over there. But yeah, I mean, basically just what you're teaching. I mean, I've been in this business a long time. What you're teaching is, how to get traffic really, right? Like if we want to get real about it, it's how to get traffic in a market that is either running ads, spending money in some way, shape, or form. It's really not rocket science. It's like find a market, a niche that has traffic and enough traffic that you can see yourself like, I've got somewhere to go. You're not like just trying to scrape to get 10,000 visitors. I think that's a big mistake. Find something that has some growth that you're like, I might get there, but even if I don't, if I take a third of it, I'm still going to be okay. And then also just make sure that you know that there are products being sold in that market. So you're not like, I got the traffic, but now it doesn't convert, right? I don't have anything to sell them, or there's nothing out there that's really selling other than, some bracelets for like $2 or something. You know what I mean? Like you got to look at those things. But the other thing is just stay committed to yourself and be consistent. Like consistency has really treated me well. It hasn't always been easy, but if I sign up to do it in my own head, I'm going to do it. And I think that's the big one for a lot of people. Just sign up in your own head, commit to yourself, stay consistent, and the results will be there.
Scott, it's great having you on the show. It's been great catching up. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, I thank you, man. Appreciate you.